Okay, so this one is going to be 9.2, and we're going to solve by completing the square. Okay? Notice that when we have like this. When we have something like this, and we don't have no variables on the other side, we can solve by using the square root property. We can do it quickly and easily. But if we don't have this just like that on one side, we can manipulate the equation to get it. And this manipulation is called completing the square. Okay, and completing the square is used for solving quadratic equations that cannot be solved with the square root property or the zero factor property. So, let me give you an example. We're gonna work of example. We have x squared minus 12x plus 14 equals to -3. So, like I said, completing the square is used for solving quadratic equations that cannot directly be solved with the square root property or the zero factor property. So here's the procedure. We have to have the equation in this form. Let me write down. It needs to be x squared plus bx plus c equal to something, to 0. And the leading coefficient needs to be 1. If it's not 1, we need to divide through the entire equation by the leading coefficient. And we're going to do exercises when we have to do that. Now, first we have to move the constant, which is this one, to the opposite side of the equation. And we know how to do that, right? -14 and -14. So we're going to have x squared minus 12x equals to what? To -17. Now, we are going to find the half of b. So meaning we're going to find the b term, which is this one, 12. What's the half of -12? Is -6. Now, we're going to square that. Keep this number here. Remember that this is the half of b. So if we square that number, what do we get? 36. And 36 is the number that is going to go here. Because I'm adding 36 here, I have to add it on the other side. We're applying the addition property of equality. Now, what do we need to do? We can ask ourselves this question. How can I write this as perfect square? This one. Okay. X minus what? Remember, that's what I told you to remember this one. X squared. -17 plus 36, that's 19. This is a perfect square trinomial, where you're always going to have either plus or minus. In this case, it's going to be minus because your half b was minus. Now, what do? I apply the square root property. So what's the square root property? This is equal to plus and minus a square root of 19. Now, here's the green color. I'm going to add 6 on both sides. So my answer is going to be x is equal to what? Plus and minus a square root of 19 plus 6. In this particular case, we cannot do anything else. We're solving the quadratic equation by completing the square. Let's do more exercises. This one. We have 3x squared minus 5x minus 4 equals to 0. So, going back, we said that we must have the equation in which form? Ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. It's gotta be, right here, it's gotta be a 1. And it's not 1 right now. So what do? If the leading coefficient is not 1, we need to divide through the entire equation by that coefficient, okay? And that's what we're doing. So what do we get here? We get x squared minus 5 over 3x and negative 4 over 3 equals to 0, right? Now, I'm going to add 4/3 on both sides of the equation. Because what I need to do, I need to move the constant to the opposite side of the equation. I just did it there. So I have x squared I'm just leaving the spaces that I know I'm going to need. Now, I need to find the 1/2 of b. How do I find that? Okay, I just need to multiply this one. So it's going to be what? Negative 5 over 3 times 1/2. And what is this one equal to? Negative 5 over 6. So this is what b is going to be. Now, when I square this one, what do I get when I square that? I get 25 divided by 36. And I'm going to add that on both sides of the equation. Now, how can I write this as a perfect square? All right, I know it's going to be, I'm always going to take my b. That's why you always have to you're always going to have to keep track of that value, okay? So this is it's a perfect square trinomial. And in this case, it's going to be negative. Equal to, I have 4 over 3 plus 25 over 36. And this is equal to what? 36 plus 36. This is going to be what? 12, right? Times 12 and times 12. 12 times 4. Over 36. When I add those two fractions. Now, What do I need to do? I need to apply the square root property. So this is x minus 5 over 6 plus and minus the square root of 73 over 36, right? Let's add 5 over 6. So this is going to be 5 over 6 plus and minus the square root of 73 over, what's the square root of 36? It's 6. So what do we see there? That we can write this down as 5 plus and minus the square root of 73 over 6. Okay? I have more exercises that we could do. Now, number 3 says W2 minus 6W plus 3 equals to 0. Now, we have what's half of B? That would be negative 3. And, oh, I forgot to write this down. Wait, let's start again. So it's going to be W minus 6W plus 3 equal to 0. We have to move the constant to the opposite side of the equation. Move the constant to the opposite side of the equation. Another thing that we need to look at first is that the leading coefficient in this case is 1, so it's perfect. So we're going to subtract 3 on both sides. So what do we have? W squared minus 6W okay? Now we need to find the 1/2 B. That would be negative 3. Remember that number. And we're going to square this. That would be 9. That 3 times 3 is 9. So we're going to add 9. Okay? So what we have in this side, remember, how do I make this one a perfect square? I know it is already, so it's going to be W minus 3 is square. Negative 3 plus 9 is 6. What comes next? I need to apply the square root property. Apply the square root property. So that's going to be W minus 3 equal to plus and minus the square root of 6. I'm going to add 3 on both sides. And I get W is equal to 3 plus and minus the square root of 6. There's nothing else that I can do there. To have more that we could do, this one is a complex one. Number 4. equals to negative 40. So first, the leading coefficient is not 1. So what do I need to do? I need to divide the entire equation by that leading coefficient. So we're going to do that by 9, by 9, and by 9. All right. So what do I get here? X squared. This is going to be 4x. And here, just going to keep it 40, negative 40 over 9. Now, let's do it. What is the half of b? Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. If I square the negative 2, I get 4. I add 4 here. I need to add it on this side. Now, how do we make it? How is this going to look like a perfect square? Is x, remember the b, minus 2 squared equals 2. What do we do here? We got to have a 9 there, right? So we got to multiply this by 9. So it's going to be negative 40 over 9 plus 36 over 9. So what do we have? Negative 4. Okay, so this is going to be equal to negative 4 over 9. Now we apply the square root property. And what we get here is x minus 2 equals 2 plus a minus negative 4 over 9 square root. Okay, let's deal with this part first before we move the 2. So this is equal to what? To square root of 4 over square root of 9. Right? So what's the square root of 4? Is 2 over 3. And what is this? This is I. So in other words, here's my eraser. Okay, and this is I. Sorry. So what do I do now? I add 2 on both sides. So my answer is going to be x equal to 2 plus a minus 2 over 3i. That was the only difference here, that we have a negative. So then we need to use the an imaginary number. I do have another one here too. This one, 4, 5 is 2x squared minus 8x plus 3 equal to 0. Sorry. First, what do we look at? It does have a coefficient. So that means we're going to have to divide everything by that coefficient. So divided by 2, by 2, by 2, and by 2. So let's see what we have left. X squared, 8 divided by 2 is 4x, plus 3 over 2 equal to 0. Now we move the constant to the other side. Now I have x squared minus 4x equals to negative 3 over 2. Now, what do? Which is what? Negative 2. And if I square the negative 2, I get 4. If I'm adding 4 on this side, I have to add it on this side too. So my perfect square here is going to be x minus 2 squared. And what do I get here? Okay, I need a 2 here. So I need to multiply this by 2. So what I get from here is negative 3 plus 8. That's going to give me what? 5 over 2. So this is going to be plus a minus. Not yet. Hold on. 5 over 2. Okay. Now apply the square root property. And what do we have? Plus a minus the square root of 5 over 2. Now I need to add 2. So what do I get? X is equal to 2 plus a minus square root of 5 divided by the square root of 2. What do I need to do here? I need to rationalize. I cannot have a denominator put as a fraction. So we're going to have to multiply by the square root. What makes a perfect square root? So what do we have here? Just this piece that I'm doing here. That's going to be a square root of 10, and this is going to be 2. So x is equal to 2 plus a minus a square root of 10 divided by 2. Okay. And that's completing the square. I have one more that we could do, just to remind us that we need to simplify. Let me just show you this one. 5, 6, okay, 3m squared minus 4m equals to 4. So what happens there? Go back. We need to divide by 3 because the leading coefficient needs to be 1. In this case, it's 3. So we're going to divide the entire equation by the leading coefficient. So what do I get? I get m squared minus 4 over 3 equal to what? To 4 over 3. Now, let's start. Half of b would be what? 2, let's see, 4 over 3 negative multiplied by 1/2. That's equal to negative 4 over 6, right? But what is negative 4 over 6? If I simplify, this is negative 2 and this is 3. Okay, so simplify. Otherwise, you'll get the answer, but it's going to be longer because the fractions are, the numbers are going to be bigger in the fractions. So what do we have? 2 over 3, negative 2 over 3. We are going to square that. So what do we get when we square it? 4 over 9. And we're going to multiply by 4 over 9 on both sides. So on this side, I have my perfect square. Let's see what I get here. So I want both to have the same coefficient, the same denominator. So this is going to be 9, 12. So 12 plus 4, 16 over 9. So this is equal to 16 over 9. Now let's apply the square root property, and we have x minus 2/3 equal to plus a minus what? Square root of 16 over square root of 9. That I changed the variable. Okay. So m, square root of 16 is 4, square root of 9 is 3, right? Now, let's add 2/3 on both sides. So what do I have? I have m is equal to what? 2/3 plus a minus 4 over 3. So that's going to be equal to what? 2 over 3 plus 4 over 3. You're going to have another answer here, minus 4 over 3. So there's going to be two answers. This is going to be 6 over 3, which we know is 2, and this is going to be negative 2. So 1m is going to be equals to 2, and the other one is going to be equal to negative 3. So it's a little bit different, this one. All right.